Good morning. Today we are continuing on working with those decimals that we started working with on last week. We are doing CO7. I can write a value as a fraction and a decimal. So it's going to be the same value. It's worth the same amount. Sometimes we make it a decimal, sometimes we make it a fraction. So we need to be able to go back and forth between the two. Okay, as you progress through mathematics, you will find that you'll need to convert between fractions and decimals more and more frequently. Some things are better written as fractions, while others are better written as decimals. Let's look at a few examples. Why do we want some things with that decimal and some things with a fraction? So things commonly written as fractions could be test scores. So I gave you back those theology quizzes. There were 10 questions. How many you got right? Out of 10 questions, it was a fraction, right? It's really common to see test scores as a fraction. Another thing that we typically see as fractions are recipes. If my recipe calls for 2/3 a cup of sugar, I'm gonna have a 2/3 cup in my drawer that I can pull out. I don't have a 0.666 cup in my drawer for me to pull out, right? It's not usual to use decimals when we're working with cooking and baking. Michael? Say that again? So when we're cutting up foods, yeah, a lot of times that'll be out of a fraction when we cut foods. Can anyone think of anything else that we might use fractions for? Okay, so recipes working with food are usually fractions. Test scores we see as a fraction. Then we have some things that we might see as decimals. Jack, did you have a fraction?
Mm-hmm.
What?
So, whenever you're working, like, whenever you're doing some construction things, you could use the tape measure as fractions.
So, yeah, I'll put measuring, like with a ruler or a tape measure. Yeah, those have fractions on them. That's a good one. Then we have decimals. Some things that we might use decimals with. We talked about in that last objective, we were working with money. Right? When we work with money, it's decimals. How many cents? Joy, did you have one? Percentages are different because we are going to talk about fractions and decimals and percents. So percents will be a different one that we're going to talk about. We might also talk with decimals when we talk race times. So it might be how many hundredths of a second were you, did you win the race by? So when you're doing racing, cross country, track and field, swimming, those kind of races, you'll see decimals in it because they go down to that hundredth of a second to see who came in first. So we are going to be converting from a fraction to a decimal on the first page here. So there are steps that we do to convert from a fraction to a decimal. The first thing you want to do is you want to write the fraction over 100. So we need to find the equivalent fraction to get that denominator up to 100. Whatever we multiply the denominator by to get it to 100, we multiply the numerator by to bring that up. So whatever you multiply the bottom by, you multiply the top by. 100 is our magic number because I'm going to show you why. So we'll see why. So the numerator, so the new numerator will will become your decimal. And if it's over 100, our decimal goes out to the 100th place. So we have some friendly denominators that we use to make this process easier. So we can see, oh, my denominator's 20, I'm gonna know exactly what to multiply my denominator, numerator by to get to 100. So this little chart that we're going to put on here, something you're gonna wanna put on a help sheet to use when it comes time to take the test. So it's a good little note that's gonna help us on our homework, it's gonna help us on the test. So we have 2, 4, 5, 10, 20, 25, and 50. These are helpful friendly denominators because we can easily multiply up to 100. So if we have 2 as our denominator, what do you think we want to multiply by to get to 100? Rhoda? 50. If we have 4 as our denominator, what should we multiply by to get to 100? Rhoda?
25.
25. What about 5? Joy?
20.
20. What about 10? Joy? 10. So now, if we have a 20 as our denominator, we know we're going to multiply it by that 5. We have 25 as our denominator, we multiply it by 4. And if 50 is our denominator, we're going to multiply by 2. Again, keeping in mind, whatever you multiply the denominator by, you multiply the numerator by. So that numerator has to change also. You can't just keep it the same. So let's see what that looks like. I'm going to erase this. Actually, I think I can erase it later. I think when it does it this way, yeah, it'll just move on. All right. So if our fraction is 6/50ths, we're going to convert it to a decimal. So our first step is making that denominator 100. Okay. So we need to show our work. So we're going to show what we're multiplying the top and the bottom by. So if our denominator is 50, what do I want to multiply by? Jack? 2. So I'm going to multiply by 2. What is 6 times 2? Joy? What is 50 times 2? Joy? 100. Remember that 100 is our magic number. When we read that fraction, it reads as 12 hundredths. We know our decimal places have a 100th place. So we take that ones place in our fraction, and we put that in that ones place, or that hundreds place of our decimal. So that 12 hundredths, now when I read it, it says 12 hundredths, because I'm reading my decimal right in that 100th place. We say them the exact same way. 12 hundredths as a fraction, 12 hundredths as a decimal. We are going to show our work. Okay, so make sure you're showing what you're multiplying by, what your new fraction is. It should always be over 100. And how you take that decimal, or that fraction, and you put that numerator as your decimal. Let's look at our next one. Trying to think if there is a tricky one on here. I don't think there is. All right, so let's look at 4/25. What would I multiply 4/25 as to get 100 on the bottom? Jackson? 4. 4, because 25 times 4. So what is my new fraction going to be? Jude?
8
So Jude said 8 100ths. We made an oops on here. What oops did he make? Avery? Why would it be 1600ths, Avery? Jude accidentally added 4 plus 4. Very, very common mistake. I'm so glad you made it, because it happens all the time. And this way, it's not me just talking about it, we can see it happen. It happens seriously all the time. People accidentally add instead of multiplying. So be careful that you multiply. So it should be 4 times 4, and we want that to be 16. Okay, super common mistake. I see it on tests all the time. This is our reminder. Am I multiplying? Happens with the 4s a lot, and for some reason it happens with the 3s a lot too. A lot of times when people have 3 times 3, they'll give me a 6 for an answer, because they add them together. I don't know what it is about the 3s and the 4s. People just automatically add them. We need to remember to multiply. So now we have 1600ths. What is that decimal going to look like? And 0.16, because our last number has to be in that hundredth place. Okay. Any questions on what we're doing on this section? All right, let's look at our second page. This time, we're going to go from a decimal to a fraction. So instead of going from the fraction to the decimal, we're going from decimal to fraction. So let's look at what our steps are. Step number 1. Write the decimal as the numerator over, what do you think our magic number is? 100. That numerator needs to be over 100. Magic number. So when we go from our decimal to a fraction, we put it over 100. Second step, when we work with fractions as our final answer, we always want to see, can I simplify? Simplify, simplify, simplify. Can I divide it down? Both the numerator and the denominator. Is there a number I can divide out of both? So let's look to see how this works. So I have 0.87. What fraction am I going to put that as? Michael? 87 over 100. Then I have to look to see, can I simplify it down? Is there a number I can divide out of both 87 and 100? You are correct, Joy. There is not. That's as simple as it gets. That's my answer. Let's look at our next one, 0.55. What is that going to look like? Matt?
85 over 100.
85 over 100. Can I simplify that down? Is there a number I can divide out of both 55 and 100? Michael?
5.
I can divide a 5 out of both. Because one ends in a 5 and one ends in a 0. Those are both divisible by 5. What is 55 divided by 5? Presley?
11.
What is 100 divided by 5? It's on our page before. What would we multiply 5 by to get to 100? 20. So 100 divided by 5 is 20. I cannot get any simpler than that. My final answer is 11/20. Notice how I'm circling it, so I remember which one is the final answer, because I'm simplifying down that fraction. Let's look at 0.2. What would that look like as a fraction? What do you think, Rhoda?
42 over 100. Or wait, 0 point, sorry. 2 100.
So Rhoda is looking at that saying 2 100ths. Can anyone find the very common mistake that Rhoda made? Very common. What do you think, Maddie?
The two's in the 10th place.
The 2 is in the 10th place. And remember, we always want to go to that 100th place. So I need to fill in a 0 here in that 100th place. So now I have 20 hundredths. So instead of just putting a 2 as my numerator, it's actually 20 hundredths. Now I need to simplify it down. What can I divide out of 20 and 100? What do you think, Matt?
40, divided 4.
I could divide a 4 out. 20 divided by 4 is 5. 100 divided by 4 is 25. Can I get any simpler?
Yeah.
What can I divide out, Presley? I can also divide a 5 out. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 25 divided by 5 is 5. Can I get any simpler?
No.
Now, that's as low as I can go. I could have looked at that 20 hundredths and said, I can divide a 20 out of both. 20 divided by 20 is 1. 100 divided by 20 is 5. I would get the same answer. Sometimes you find that biggest number to simplify by. Sometimes you have to simplify a few times. But you always want to get as simple as you can get. So if you just have to the 10th place, remember, put that 0 on for the hundredths. What about 0.02? What do you think that fraction will look like, Jack?
2 over.
That one is 2 over 100, because the 2 is in the 100th place. What can I simplify that down to, Shantria? What do I want to divide out?
50.
Can I divide 2 by 50? Or were you giving me the answer? What did you divide out? Because I think you had it right. Tell me what you did. Oh, you divided by 50. So 2 times 50 is 100, but we can't divide it by 50 because you can't say 2 divided by 50. What did you divide that 100 by to get 50? 2. We can divide 2 by 2. We can divide 100 by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 100 divided by 2 is that 50. So you knew 50 was in there. We just had to figure out how it was in there. We divide both the numerator and denominator by the same number. Any questions on going from a decimal to a fraction? So the first page, you're going to do fraction to decimal. This second page, you're going to do fraction or decimal to fraction. And then on the bottom, they're mixed together. Some are fractions, some are decimals. What's your question, Haley?
Can you use your calculator?
No. We are not using the calculator because we know which numbers to multiply by and divide by with that 100, because that's on that front page. Okay, so use that front page, that table on the front page that said you're going to want to put on a help sheet. Use it. Okay. Any other questions? All right. Remember, packet number 1 is due tomorrow. Khan Academy is due Thursday. So if you finish, I'm still recording, friends. There should be no voices. I'm still recording. If you finish this before class is over, then you are doing Khan Academy, math packet, getting those finished up. Go slow. We saw how easy it is to make simple mistakes. Okay? Super easy. I make them too. Go slow. Joy and Rhoda, please stop. Thank you. Go slow. Check your work. If you are watching at home, I hope you are well, and I hope to see you soon. Have a wonderful day.